Countdown to top 10 creepy coincidences that are hard to explain. Life is full of strange occurrences, but some coincidences are so eerie and inexplicable that they leave us questioning the very fabric of reality. These rare moments, where events align in bizarre ways, often defy logic and reason. From unsettling patterns to mind-boggling twists of fate, they stand as chilling reminders that the universe has a mysterious way of working. Here is a countdown of 10 creepy coincidences that are sure to send shivers down your spine. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. By subscribing, you'll keep up with all of our latest content and won't miss out on the exciting new videos we release frequently. Tap the bell icon to receive instant notifications whenever we upload, so you're always in the know and can enjoy fresh, engaging content that aligns with your interests. 10. The tragic Titanic prophecy. The sinking of the Titanic in 1912 was one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history, but what makes it even more unsettling is that its tragedy seemed to have been predicted years before. In 1898, a novel titled Futility by Morgan Robertson told the story of an enormous, unsinkable luxury ship called the Titan that meets its demise after hitting an iceberg in the North Atlantic. In this fictional account, the ship lacked an adequate number of lifeboats, much like the Titanic in reality. The similarities between the Titan and the Titanic are uncanny. Both ships were the largest of their kind, both were deemed unsinkable, and both went down in April after striking an iceberg. Robertson's novel was written 14 years before the Titanic set sail, yet it eerily foreshadowed one of the deadliest maritime disasters of all time. 9. The Curse of James Dean's Car. James Dean, the iconic Hollywood actor, was known for his rebellious persona and love of fast cars. Sadly, his passion for speed led to his untimely death in 1955 when he crashed his Porsche 550 Spider, a car he had affectionately named Little Bastard. But Dean's death was just the beginning of a bizarre string of accidents associated with his car. After the crash, the wrecked car was sold for parts. Strangely, every person who owned or came into contact with pieces of the car experienced tragedy. The car's engine was placed in another vehicle that later crashed, killing its driver. The tires were sold and reportedly blew out simultaneously, causing another accident. The car's chassis was later displayed in a museum but mysteriously vanished, never to be seen again. Many believe the car was cursed, leaving behind a trail of destruction in its wake. Heat. The reincarnation of the Pollock sisters. In 1957, two sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, tragically died in a car accident in England. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Gillian and Jennifer. Strangely, the twins had birthmarks identical to those of their deceased sisters. Even more bizarre, they began to exhibit behaviors and recall memories that seemed to belong to Joanna and Jacqueline. The twins remembered details about their sisters' lives that they had no way of knowing. For instance, they recognized landmarks and places their deceased sisters had been to, even though they had never visited those locations themselves. They also had a deep fear of cars, often exclaiming that they were going to be hit by one. This chilling case has been cited as evidence of reincarnation, leaving scientists and skeptics puzzled. 7. The mystery of the Edgar Allan Poe novel. Edgar Allan Poe is known for his dark and macabre tales, but one of his lesser-known works, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, seems to have predicted a real-life event in an unnervingly accurate manner. In the novel, Poe writes about four shipwrecked sailors who are stranded at sea and forced to resort to cannibalism to survive. They eventually draw straws to decide who will be sacrificed, and the unlucky victim is a cabin boy named Richard Parker. In 1884, years after Poe's novel was published, a yacht called the Mignonette sank, leaving four survivors adrift in a lifeboat. Desperate for food, they too resorted to cannibalism. The name of the boy who was sacrificed and eaten, Richard Parker. The real-life incident mirrored Poe's fictional tale so closely that it's hard to chalk it up to mere coincidence. 6. The mysterious green children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, two strange children appeared in the village of Woolpit in England. The siblings, a boy and a girl, had green-tinged skin, spoke an unknown language, and wore unfamiliar clothing. The villagers were baffled by their appearance and could not understand where they had come from. After some time, the children learned to speak English and explained that they came from a land called St. Martin's Land, where the sun never shone, and everything was bathed in a twilight glow. While the boy eventually died, the girl grew up and integrated into society, but the mystery of their origin was never solved. To this day, the story of the Green Children of Woolpit remains one of the most peculiar and unexplained phenomena in history. 5. Mark Twain's haunting comet prediction. Mark Twain, one of America's most beloved authors, was born in 1835, the same year Halley's Comet passed by Earth. In 1909, Twain famously predicted his own death, stating, "I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it." His prediction proved eerily accurate. Twain passed away on April 21, 1910, just one day after Halley's Comet made its closest approach to Earth. While some might dismiss this as a coincidence, it's hard to ignore the strange alignment of Twain's life and death with the comet's celestial journey. 4. The mysterious case of the twins separated at birth. In 1940, twin boys were separated at birth and adopted by different families in Ohio. Despite growing up in different households and never meeting, their lives followed eerily similar paths. Both boys were named James by their adoptive parents, and as they grew older, their lives seemed to mirror each other in bizarre ways. Both Jameses had a dog named Toy as children. Both married women named Linda, and after divorcing, both remarried women named Betty. They each had a son whom they named James Allan or Allan, and both worked in law enforcement, with one becoming a security guard and the other a sheriff. The twins eventually reunited at age 39, and the striking similarities in their lives stunned even geneticists. 3. The ominous omens of the Hoover Dam. The construction of the Hoover Dam was one of the most ambitious engineering projects of its time, but it was also plagued by a series of eerie coincidences. One of the most unsettling involves the first and last deaths associated with the dam's construction. The first worker to die was J.G. Tierney, who drowned while surveying the site in 1922. Exactly 13 years later to the day, Tierney's son, Patrick, also drowned in the same location while working on the dam. This strange alignment of deaths has fueled rumors that the Hoover Dam is cursed, with many believing that it was doomed from the start. 2. The phantom phone calls from beyond the grave. In 1977, a Chicago woman named Dorothy Eady began receiving strange phone calls late at night. The caller would remain silent on the other end before abruptly hanging up. This continued for weeks, and no matter how often she changed her phone number, the calls persisted. It wasn't until months later that Dorothy discovered the source of the calls. They had begun shortly after her mother had died, and upon investigating further, she learned that the phone line associated with the calls had been disconnected years prior. To this day, no explanation for the calls has been found, leaving many to wonder if Dorothy was being contacted from beyond the grave. 1. The enigma of the West Virginia Mothman Prophecies. Perhaps one of the most unsettling and well-known coincidences involves the Mothman, a creature reportedly sighted in West Virginia in the 1960s. Witnesses described the Mothman as a humanoid figure with large wings and glowing red eyes, often seen around the town of Point Pleasant. The sightings reached a peak in 1967, just before the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge, which killed 46 people. Many believe the Mothman sightings were an omen of the disaster to come, with the creature acting as a harbinger of doom. Some witnesses even claim to have seen the Mothman at the site of the bridge collapse. To this day, the Mothman legend remains one of the most chilling and unexplained phenomena in modern folklore, with sightings continuing to be reported around the world. These 10 creepy coincidences demonstrate how unpredictable and mysterious the universe can be. Whether they are strange accidents, premonitions, or something even more inexplicable, these stories challenge our understanding of reality and make us wonder if there's more to the world than what we can explain. Some may dismiss them as mere chance, while others believe they hint at deeper, more sinister forces at play. Whatever the case, they remind us that the line between coincidence and fate is often thin and sometimes chillingly so.